started about 10 years ago, but her role differs because it's more about the stem cell transplant end of things. But for, say, 9 at least of those years, we cross-covered each other.
Okay.
8.5, 9. So we would just negotiate the leave between us then.
Right,
and
okay.
then that's fine. Whereas if you're on a team and in the ward,
yeah, you just
the structure of your leave is more awkward because there's only a certain number of nurses allowed to be on annual leave at a time.
Right, okay.
And I found that maybe more challenging when I was in James's.
Okay.
So when I was in James's in the transplant unit, they put up a wall planner for the year. It often go up like 1st of January. And it was like, get your name into some sort of block somewhere and hope that was when you wanted your leave. But at least if you had your name somewhere, you had the swapability perspective for someone.
You can negotiate then.
Yeah, exactly. But now that I'm in this role for holidays, and then as a support, like it is in general a supportive organisation. But I suppose in those first few years when I was often putting in 60-hour weeks and I was telling them that I didn't have another way of avoiding those hours because I didn't ever want to be letting the patient cohort down.
Yeah.
I didn't ever feel like I was listened to. Do you know, like I'd email them updates of all these extra hours that I was never going to get back.
Yeah. But it wasn't a problem for them because you were...
Yeah, and it's that, and I suppose I learnt from that when Michelle came on board, and I suppose you come into a role like this, having worked on the wards where you go in, you get your handover from your colleagues, that cohort of patients are your responsibility for that shift. Yeah. And you focus on that and that's that. But when you then come into a role like this, that is much wider and varied in what your responsibilities are and what they involve, and there's structure there to an extent, but how you manage your time is your responsibility and only yours in a way for getting through the workload that comes your way. But if at that time, if we had like 2 new acute leukemias diagnosed and 3 new lymphomas, then there wasn't really a way of deflecting that work to other people. It had to be done, and I had to get through it. And if you've got someone with a new diagnosis and you know that they're relying on you to give them that extra bit of information and that extra insight into what to expect, then you're just going to put in the extra hours. Do you know? And you can shout and shout and shout. But then as time has come on, and when it comes to, say, ideas that the consultants have about expanding the system or not expanding the service, I've probably become way more forthright and assertive. Right. You know, when there was frustrations that we didn't have good data. Yeah. And I would hear about other CNSs around the country going, oh, well, I set up databases and I input information every time we get a new patient. And I was kind of quickly going, well, if I start doing that, and they'll never get a data manager. So like, I was frustrated too that we didn't have the data. If I volunteered, I knew it would be my role for the longer term, and there would never. And now we have like a part-time data manager for the last couple of years, and now we do more accurately know our patient numbers of how many new diagnoses we have per year of different categories and how many patients we still have ongoing. And I would never had time to collate that data and display it in the way that a data manager can. And sure, if I did that, I'm very conscious as well at the time of when I did my training, the Project 2000 was what it was called, because the millennium hadn't happened yet. And they were very focused on it being that you wouldn't be task orientated as a nurse. Because there used to be systems in wards that one person would go down round the wards and do all the observations, so do all their blood pressures, temperatures, pulses. Another person would go around, maybe with a care attendant, do all the bed making. And there was so much task orientation going on that where was the holistic care if everybody was just zoning in on tasks and not. So I think when our type of training was focused on getting away from that and having a holistic patient-focused or patient-centred approach, then when it comes to extending my role as a nurse, I'm very I'm very cautious about taking on medical roles.
Because it'll take away from...
Yeah, because